Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so Peso Peso, the hardest essay ever. Now that ain't me saying that, that's what he be saying. So don't get me caught up in what he be claiming or what he don't. But Peso Peso, man, rumor is he just got scooped up by the feds, y'all, man, by the Alphabet Boys. So man, it's looking like a crazy situation going down with these Texas rappers and what's going on in Texas in the hip hop community so far. Now, Peso Peso, man, let's talk about him a little bit and get everybody caught up on who Peso Peso is, why I think he's the most, slept on artist as far as TSF is concerned, and maybe not TSF is concerned. I think he's the second most popular artist out of TSF, and he hooked up with Sauce Walka, who's one of my favorite people to talk about on this channel. And man, how we got to this point right here. Now, before we get into the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Peso Peso a little bit. Now, Peso Peso, real name Mario Herrera Jr., man. He's from Galveston, Texas. Now, Galveston, Texas is not well known by some who haven't been to Texas before, but to anybody who spent time living in Texas, I'm talking about a couple of years, whatever, know about Galveston, its beaches, and they definitely remember the Kappa Beach Party. That used to be the joint. I even been out there once before, man. You know what I mean? That was the spot. Kappa Beach Party was legendary. And man, they got rid of it, sort of, man. They always have like little inklings of things that they bring back every summer or every spring or whatever, but it never measures up to the original of what it was. And Galveston was known as a city by the sea and a place people went to relax and have fun. But deep in the trenches of Galveston, there was a burgeoning rap scene. Now, there's been rappers who have came out of Galveston before. There used to be a whole big label. I think they used to be called Powerhouse or something like that. And Peso Peso is from those same stomping grounds. Now, Galveston definitely has some of its crazy parts. Like, I'm talking about, like, as worse as anywhere else in Texas, as worse as anywhere else in America. And Peso Peso ended up growing up in a situation like that. Now, Peso Peso, a.k.a. Mario Herrera, man, he ended up making a good way for himself in the rap game. But, man, prior to that, dude he got locked up a lot. And when I say a lot, man, if I show all these mug shots of him, you'd be like, what in the world? Like, it seemed like every couple of months and sometimes days apart, he was getting locked up. Now, most of the things he found himself in trouble for were small, like where, he was handling, small levels of stuff or whatnot. You guys can draw the conclusion. It's legal in some states and it's not in others, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But then he also had things like, allegedly people were accusing him of doing some type of fraud and scamming and stuff like that. But dude still found a way in the rap industry and in the rap game. Peso Peso has had an amazing year in the rap game. Since last year, 2019, I would say Peso Peso has had a very nice run. And that's due in part, or largely in part, with the fact that he hooked up with none other than Sauce Walka. Now, Sauce Walka has his own label called TSF. Now, TSF has a whole list of artists, and Peso Peso is one of the most standout artists in TSF. Like, when you mention TSF and you want to talk about its success as a label, most people look to Peso Peso because this dude has got so many features out there, especially with a lot of the Latino or Hispanic rap scene and rap folks out there. He links up with them often. I'm talking about all throughout Texas, all throughout wherever, man. Dude is definitely a legit factor in the Latin community as far as hip hop is concerned. But it seems like dude cannot stay out of trouble, man. Like he just had got arrested allegedly last year for something, and there was a video floating around showing him getting arrested. And then you got this year, man, dude has been kind of, man, tiptoeing around not getting arrested and kind of getting pulled in for different things. And it looks like yesterday was the same old thing, man. So this is what we know so far. Yesterday, Peso Peso was supposed to have a fan meet and greet at a spot called the Houston Closet. And man, prior to him going to the meet and greet, he put out a message that was kind of cryptic and everybody was like, what in the world's going on? And the message read this. It said, meet and greet today is canceled at Houston Closet, #free peso. So man, letting people know that, hey man, the meet and greet is just not going to happen. And then he followed that up with this caption. Now in the caption, he specifically said this. He said, They trying to charge me for some BS. Y'all know I ain't even on that MX free peso peso hashtag hardest essay ever. You know what I mean? And basically put it out there in the public that, man, that they trying to charge him with something and that he really ain't on. And people were like, man, what in the world they try to get Peso Peso for? Because his activity online is, man, it's constant. Like, that's one of my favorite things about Peso Peso and even Sauce Walka is they are very entertaining on social media. They always go live driving. They always go live. You're going to hear from them at least every day, if not every other day. And that's not to say as fans and stuff, we know exactly what they're up to or what they're in the mix with doing, but definitely it gives you a look at their life day to day. And Peso Peso has capitalized on that on many different aspects, man. His social media engagements or interactions probably contributed to the fact of his followers going up and probably contributed to the fact of his name going up in the hip hop music as a genre anyway, man. Because Peso Peso is pretty much well known, especially like I said with the Latins. Like he recently hooked up with Snow the Product and other Latin rappers, and man, they just making a statement. He's definitely making a statement in the game. Dude has really got his stuff together as far as rising in the rap game. And man, his audience is set, man. He's done some big interviews out there with No Jumper and all those cats. But the rumor of him getting picked up by the feds was something that came from online. It didn't come from Peso Peso specifically. Now, the feds picking him up is not something that hasn't happened before. He's actually had interactions with that in the past, and he's said recently in recent posts that it was stuff that he put in the past and he wasn't going to be, going back to doing any type of capers or committing any type of scams allegedly, right? But for some reason, man, he's still on their radar, so we're going to get more information and see what this is about. And Peso Peso, man, I think this isn't going to hurt his career. I think the fact that he got picked up again, it's as weird as it sounds, man, it only adds to his story even more. And most of his fans are dialed in and bought into the fact of Peso Peso, being this bandit type of character who's, running from the law, always sauced out, always slowed down, if you know what I mean, and just, plays that into the camera. So if not, this is just more marketing, unless these charges are very, very serious. And hopefully they're not. And hopefully he didn't, whatever it's alleged that he did or they brought him in for questioning, he could definitely, he definitely didn't do it and he could get out of the situation and continue with his rap career. Because Peso Peso is actually pretty successful. It amazes you and it shows you there's a different lane for a lot of different people in the hip hop community, in the hip hop game. Ever since everything got bigger with social media, then smaller with social media. Now, you might be wondering what I mean, but if you think about it, you'll understand. You could be from anywhere and blow up in hip hop now. And it doesn't matter of what city you're from. It's just if you got fans and if they vibe with your music. Now, I dragged this on a little bit much, but man, shout out to Peso Peso. Hopefully, man, he can clear that up and get back to what he's doing. And with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.